The Marc Berman Radio Show is for mature and immature audiences.
Hello. Is this on?
My next guest in 1973 put together a band that still keeps us dancing with their funk, R&B, and disco. They gave us hit after hit after hit. Don't believe me? Check this out. That's the way I like it. Shake your booty. I'm your boogeyman. Keep it coming, love. Get down tonight. Give it up. And please don't go. Oh, there were many more. They've sold over 100 million records. Their website
is heykcsb.com.
Please welcome Harry Wayne Casey, the one and only Casey of the Sunshine Band. Welcome to AC Plugged In.
Thank you.
37 years ago, you were putting together a band whose music was and is featured everywhere from the Super Bowl, NASCAR, collegiate events, the Kentucky Derby, Macy's, and the Tournament of Roses parade, and every bar mitzvah and wedding on the planet. What were you doing 38 years ago?
I was working at hanging out at a record wholesaler that had a recording studio in it.
And you were working at TK Records, too, weren't you, back then?
Yes, that was TK Records.
Oh,
yeah.
That was TK Records.
Right.
Now, what was your first instrument?
Keyboards.
And that's what you continue with today, of course.
Correct.
After you formed the band, did you record right away, or did you do the club and wedding circuit?
Well, actually, the band, Casey and the Sunshine Band, was not formed until after we had a few hit records. It had the name, and I used studio musicians, but there was really no band.
4 #1 records in a row, Grammy Awards, People Choice Awards, American Music Awards. Your music's featured in more than 200 movie soundtracks. Then your own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Who was the first person you called when you heard you were getting a star on the Walk of Fame?
Probably my mother at the time.
And what an honor this is.
Yeah, it was a great honor.
Who'd you listen to growing up, and who was your biggest influence?
Well, I grew up in the 50s, 60s, so, I loved the Motown sound, which would have been Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, the Four Tops, Supremes, Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Smokey Robinson. I loved, like James Brown, Aretha Franklin. Like more R&B stuff I liked, but I always liked all kinds of music. Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Three Dog Night, Grand Funk Railroad, Led Zeppelin. I liked it, Cream. I could go on and on. The Beach. You could go on and on and on. They were all great. Donovan,
Wow.
So I would think I was probably influenced a little bit by everybody, but probably more by the Motown sound, probably.
But you know what? I think I personally see this in the Sunshine Band. I see your music. It's really, yes, it was called disco back in the day, but I think it's more funk.
Well, my
personally.
music, you have to understand, disco was not even around when we started, and it didn't become disco until 1978, which was 4 years after I'd started. 5 years after I'd started, actually. So, disco became a sound that we kind of created this sound.
Sure.
And then it became disco. They started calling it disco. So we were kind of making R&B pop funk music, you know what I mean?
Who were some of the performers you wrote for and produced?
Well, George McRae, there was Betty Wright, there was a TK, there was Gwen McRae at TK, there was Jimmy Bohorn, a lot of TK artists, mostly TK artists. I've had my songs sampled, like Connected by Stereo MCs was one of our songs. I don't know, like 100 rap songs that have samples of my songs in them.
That's what I was going to ask you. You're now getting sampled. How do you feel about
Take
this?
It to the House by Trick Daddy.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? I think it's awesome.
Well, it's great. It's the highest form of flattery, We're up there amongst the top, sampled group. But I'm sure there have been more sample. I even heard like Madonna's Justify My Love was a sample from one of my records. So I think we probably have been one of the most probably sampled groups in, all of history.
And, when you think about Casey and the Sunshine Band, I don't think you can go anywhere today, even today, and not hear your music in some form. It's just something that has transcended
the
time.
radio today, it's even more with Flo Rida, with everybody. All the rap artists, Usher, everybody's doing all these club dance songs right now, and that's all a result because of us, And so it's great to still hear my music, to still hear my beats, not only in dance music, but in rock, rock bands and stuff like that. So I hear my music in a little bit of everybody still, yeah, so it's really great.
This is Casey of Casey and the Sunshine Band. Thinking back, was there a single greatest moment in the history of Casey and the Sunshine Band?
I guess winning the Grammys and, just all, the American Music Awards and those sort of things. All those are things you dream of and never expect. We had 9 nominations and I have 3 Grammys, so Each time was just a great moment. My whole career has been great. I love what I'm doing. This is all I ever wanted to do, all I ever dreamed of doing, and so it's been a great time.
Is there an arena or a room that you played? I mean, you've been playing huge
Well, we've
venues.
done them all, except a lot of the arenas and rooms we've played in don't exist anymore.
But is there one that comes to mind that you pinch yourself and you say, Casey, I can't believe I played that room?
Well, Madison Square Garden. I've done it all. So I don't, I've played the Apollo. I've done every, practically every specialty room or house there is out there. So, it's all been exciting. When you're doing the Apollo and you walk on that stage, you just feel all the people before you and all the great stars and, singers and artists that have walked on that stage. And you just feel the aura. You feel the spirit of everyone,
You're doing 200 dates a year. You going on vacation at all?
I do. I go every 4 times a year, actually.
What's your favorite place without giving the resort? Because we don't want people...
Well, let's see. I like tropical. I like Hawaii. I like the Bahamas. I love Italy. I'm Italian, so I love Italy. So, I love Palm. I love a lot of different places.
Well, with you touring...
I mostly love the islands, so...
Everywhere you go, you create this excitement. So people coming out to see you are going to absolutely, get ready to party because KC's going to be in the house.
Exactly.
I want to thank you so much.
You got it.
This is Casey of Casey and the Sunshine Band.
We listen to the Marc Berman Radio Show.
Why? Most of what we find on terrestrial radio to be stale and pretty much sucks.
The Marc Berman Show sucks less.
Listen anywhere. We live in Los Angeles and listen at BermanLive.com.
Marc Berman is a major minor celebrity in Atlantic City. He interviews the biggest names in the music and entertainment world. And when he leaves the station, he gets asked the same question time and time again. Who are you?